Welcome to Short Movie Channel. Today's movie begins with a woman named Alice, who is 38 years old. She is on a plane, traveling for work-related purposes. Alice works as a content editor for a very popular fashion magazine. Her trip is intended to visit the printing house responsible for producing the magazine, where she oversees operations to ensure everything runs smoothly and resolves any issues if they arise. When Alice arrives, she finds that everything is in order and running well. On her way back, she books a seat in first class as she usually does. However, she gets annoyed by a man sitting across from her who keeps trying to talk to her in irritating ways. Alice decides to call over someone passing by and asks them to sit next to her as a barrier between her and the annoying man. The person who ends up sitting next to her is a young man named Caesar, a 29-year-old college student majoring in architectural engineering. This was his first time flying in first class. Even though Alice tries her best to ignore Caesar because she is busy with her work, he keeps disturbing her with his restless movements. The flight continues without any real conversation between them until the plane lands. At that moment, they briefly exchange names. After Alice leaves the plane, Caesar notices that she left a flash drive on her seat. He picks it up and rushes out of the plane to catch her, but she has already left in a car waiting for her outside the airport. Caesar decides to keep the flash drive until he can find a way to return it to her. When Alice gets back to work, she discovers that her colleague Liz, who also works as a content editor at the magazine, is aiming for a promotion to take Alice's position. Alice feels upset and goes to discuss the matter with her boss. Her boss explains that Liz has qualities that could bring new opportunities to the magazine, such as her ability to travel frequently and her extensive network of connections. Unlike Alice, who has focused solely on her work since her divorce 8 years ago, Liz is more open to relationships and has a large social circle. The boss suggests that this gives Liz an edge in understanding people and adapting to changes in the field. This conversation leaves Alice feeling even more frustrated. When Alice returns to her desk, she realizes that the flash drive containing all her work is missing. She finds a note from her assistant informing her that someone named Caesar tried to contact her and said he had her flash drive. Alice immediately calls Caesar and asks where he is so she can retrieve the flash drive. At that moment, Caesar is hanging out with his friends at a nightclub. Hearing Alice's voice makes him nervous because he didn't expect her to call him. He tells her where he is, and Alice decides to go meet him to get the flash drive. When Alice arrives at the nightclub, she asks Caesar to hand over the flash drive right away because she urgently needs it. Although all she cares about is getting the flash drive and leaving, Caesar wasn't prepared for her to show up that night. He decides to take her along to the place where the flash drive is so they can retrieve it. Alice is forced to ride the motorcycle with Caesar so he can get her there quickly. When Caesar tries to put the helmet on her, Alice's friends happen to be hanging out at the same nightclub Caesar was in. They misunderstand the situation, assuming Alice is in a relationship with him. They take out their phones and start recording her while Caesar puts the helmet on her. As for Alice, she takes the flash drive from Caesar and then leaves his place to go home and continue her work. However, Caesar runs after her quickly, trying to talk to her, feeling extremely nervous and anxious. He asks her to meet him another day to get to know each other better. Alice understands his intentions and firmly explains that the age difference between them is significant. She tells him that she's 38 years old, divorced, and has an 8-year-old daughter, while he is just a 19-year-old student, which makes him way too young for her. After their conversation, she leaves him and walks away. The next morning, Alice goes to work, but she's surprised by how her coworkers are acting. They keep giving her strange looks and laughing from a distance. She doesn't understand their behavior until her assistant informs her that pictures of her with a young guy have been circulated and that everyone has seen them. Alice feels deeply embarrassed, especially when the magazine's editor sees the pictures. He tells her she needs to stay close to this young man and get to know him better to understand how young people think and what topics they would be interested in reading about in the magazine. That same day, Alice talks to one of her coworkers after work, and he advises her to do what's required of her to keep her job, as it's the most important thing in her life. he reminds her how hard she worked to reach her current position. He also warns her that if she doesn't act, her coworker Liz will get promoted, and Alice will likely lose her job. Alice thinks about his advice and realizes he's right. The next morning, Alice gets ready to go to Caesar's University. However, she ends up wearing an outfit that's completely inappropriate for the place she's heading to. As soon as Alice enters the university, she catches the attention of all the students there with her appearance and outfit. She waits for Caesar to finish his lectures, and when he sees her, he is very surprised by her presence at the university and the outfit she chose to wear. When he asks her why she came, she tells him that she is there to invite him to an important party organized by the magazine she works for. Caesar is shocked that she came to the university specifically to invite him to something work-related, especially since her tone during their last conversation gave him a completely different impression of her. However, he brushes off all the thoughts running through his mind and feels happy that she has changed her attitude and is trying to get to know him better. He agrees to go to the party with her, and before Alice leaves the university, he bids her farewell and assures her he will attend the party. He also expresses how excited and happy he is to share something related to her work and her success. When Caesar arrives at the address Alice gave him, he is amazed by her beauty and feels thrilled to enter the party with her. It's his first time attending an event like this. However, Alice feels embarrassed by Caesar's random and awkward behavior during the party. After a while, she leaves him and goes to talk to the event organizer. Meanwhile, Caesar brings them drinks and joins them, but he makes some inappropriate comments about the event's organization, leaving Alice embarrassed. She apologizes to the organizer and takes Caesar outside to leave the party. As they step outside, it starts raining. Caesar opens his umbrella to shield them from the rain. Alice, wanting to get away from him, pretends to receive a phone call, claiming her daughter is sick and has been taken to the hospital. Caesar becomes very worried upon hearing this and immediately stops the first taxi he sees. He makes the driver get out so Alice can get to her daughter quickly and even gives the driver the umbrella to protect him from the rain. A few days later, Alice takes Caesar to a fashion show organized by the magazine. She is very invested in this event because the magazine's editor-in-chief will be attending, and there's no room for mistakes. Important personalities will also be present. During the show, one of the models accidentally trips and falls. Caesar rushes to the stage to help her get back on her feet. Alice feels annoyed, thinking his actions might cause trouble for her. However, the editor-in-chief is impressed by his behavior, considering it added a unique touch to the otherwise boring show. After the show ends, Alice takes Caesar to stand with her colleagues, intentionally trying to grab the attention of the magazine director and a co-worker who had been bullying her. Later, they dance together at the party. When the party is over, Caesar offers to take Alice home on his scooter. Once they arrive, Caesar tries to go up to her apartment, but Alice refuses after realizing his intentions. Caesar refuses to leave, telling her that he loves her and wants to take their relationship to the next level. Alice is stunned by his confession and doesn't know what to say, as she knows he's far too young for her, making a relationship impossible. She's afraid to tell him the truth, fearing he'll pull away, which could negatively affect her work. Instead, she lies to him, saying she loves him too. Over time, their relationship grows, and they become closer. Alice pretends to be her natural self around him, while Caesar believes her feelings are genuine. He starts visiting her at her home frequently. A few days later, while walking down the street, Alice finds a note Caesar left for her on a tree, asking her to follow an arrow pointing in a certain direction. When she follows it, she discovers a bench in the street. She sits on it, and finds that Caesar left her a gift under the bench. She retrieves it, and finds a device with songs he made for her, along with a request to listen to them. Within minutes, Caesar arrives on his motorcycle and asks her to hop on. They start cruising through the streets, not saying a word or doing anything, while Alice feels overjoyed by the way Caesar is expressing his love for her. Honestly, she's not used to this kind of treatment from the men she's known in the past. Over time, Alice starts improving in her work, achieving more success than before. She feels confident that no one can take her place at her job. She seems to have accomplished everything she wanted, but she still doesn't know how to deal with Caesar. She's unsure whether she should continue her relationship with him at all. That same evening, Caesar invites Alice to dinner. While they're together, he talks non-stop about their future, their life together, and his ambitions at work. He even shares how happy he'll be if he gets to live with her. At that moment, Alice feels lost, unsure of what to do. She realizes that their relationship needs to end, so she tells him that the age gap between them is too significant. She points out that by the time she's old, he'll still be young and wanting to live his life. She explains that all she wants is to succeed at work and live peacefully with her daughter. Caesar is taken aback by her words and doesn't know how to convince her to change her mind. But Alice is firm in her decision to break up. Caesar reluctantly agrees to what she wants and goes back home, heartbroken and unable to believe that Alice is really gone. For days he stays depressed, listening to sad music and refusing to leave the house. Meanwhile, Alice faces major issues at work. Her boss notices her performance slipping back to what it was before. This time, even the magazine's chief editor rejects her work. They also notice that Caesar hasn't been around for a while. The editor asks Alice about him, saying she liked him at the last event and would love to meet him to offer him a job. Alice feels awkward, knowing no one is aware of their breakup. When she tries to explain to her boss that involving Caesar is difficult, he gets furious, making her scared of losing her job. Alice decides to follow orders and goes to talk to Caesar. When she knocks on his door and he sees her, Caesar is thrilled, thinking she's there to make up with him. But when he realizes she's only there to discuss work, he gets upset and refuses to talk. The next day, Alice tries to reach out to him again, but Caesar ignores her calls. She assumes he doesn't want to see her anymore and won't meet the magazine's editor. Later, when Alice goes to tell her boss the truth about her situation, her assistant interrupts and tells her that Caesar arrived earlier and already started working with them. During the shoot preparations, one of Alice's coworkers speaks to Caesar and tells him that Alice never really loved him. He claims she only stayed close to him for her own benefit to protect her position at work. Caesar is shocked by the revelation but doesn't want to abandon Alice to face her struggles alone. In the middle of the photo shoot, Caesar expresses all his anger and frustration, eventually walking out. He doesn't notice the pool behind him and ends up falling in. Alice's colleagues laugh and mock him, but Alice runs after him, trying to apologize. Caesar, however, lashes out, telling her that she's selfish and has only cared about herself. He accuses her of using him for her own gain. Alice is speechless, knowing deep down that he's right. When the magazine's boss learns what happened, she fires Alice. Sometime later, Alice finds Caesar's missing shoe. She holds it and stares at it, thinking about him, unable to forget him. Lost in thought, she doesn't even notice her daughter trying to talk to her. When she snaps out of it, she realizes she hurt herself before she hurt Caesar. She loves him and can't live without him. Immediately, Alice decides to go see Caesar again at his university. In front of all his classmates, she apologizes for what she did and admits she wants to spend her life with him. She tells him it doesn't matter what their relationship looks like in the future, all that matters is that they're together. And that's how our movie ends today. I hope you enjoyed it with us. Don't forget to support us with a like and a subscribe if you liked the video.